Hey, this is Dave from MetalEpidemic.com. Thank you for checking out our YouTube video. Please feel free to hit the subscribe button below if you like this type of content, and we hope you enjoy the review. What's up, guys? Dave here from Metal Epidemic. Join me, man, Duncan. We are back for another album review, and for this review we have been checking out the new album from Depressive, Suicidal, Stoner Doom band, She.
It's difficult when you hear the name She not to put at. Or She at. You know what I mean?
Old school.
Yeah, it's just me. Just the way my brain works.
I know. The band's new album, Basement Wizard, will be released.
Greatest name for an album ever, by the way. Oh man, honestly, anything with wizard in the title and I get rock hard. So
this one's out on October 15th. These guys are from Louisville and have
Kentucky?
been active.
See?
It just says Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville. I think Louisville's Kentucky.
Is it?
Yeah, I think. This will that'll be the first thing that gets mentioned on YouTube.
You fucking sons
Wrong.
of bitches.
Fucking wrong. Do you not know America? No, listen to my accent.
Nope. Louisville. Is it? Yeah, it's Tennessee, is it not? Is it Louisville, no Tennessee? Is it?
Right. Kentucky? Well, you talk instead of like. Let's not lose everyone at the start with all like that.
Okay.
They use a fucking clue. Right, you speak. I will find out. I'm gonna.
You do
use
that.
The old internet. So
Good stuff. So after releasing their first full-length album, Depressive, Suicidal, Stoner Doom, in January 2020, She used the remaining year to write and record their upcoming follow-up record, Basement Wizard. The album was tracked and mixed by Will Tuning at Springhurst Recording Studio, and then mastered by Jason Groves at the Sneak Attack Recording Company. Okay. Kentucky, nice.
Yep, Louisville, Kentucky, known as the gateway to the south.
Nice. Thank you, Google.
I don't know how I know that either. You know that way where you just like you instinctively know something that you shouldn't fucking know.
Yeah.
Don't know how I know that.
Okay. So these guys are completely new to me. Never heard of them before. But not gonna lie, Depressive, Suicidal, Stoner Doom sounds like it would be right up my alley.
Oh god, it's like they've sat there with a checklist of what Dave and Duncan might want to listen to and said, if it doesn't have these words in it, it's not worth writing it.
Hell yes. I jumped in with both feet and hope for the best on this one. I think the first thing that hit me on this release, well, let's get out of the way, the vocals.
Oh yeah,
quite a distinctive sounding tone. Almost like a lower register black metal vocals. It's like how I was like trying to put it in my head. I was like, what is going on here? His tone, it's not a million miles away from, if you ever heard Bongzilla, there's a guy called Mike McKellar. His tone's not a million miles away from that. I don't mean this to sound like a negative or a criticism, but it kind of sounds like he's underwater sometimes. It's strange, but it'll make sense when you hear it. It probably took me the first track of the album just to kind of get used to it, kind of to acclimatise myself to the vocal tone. But after that first track, I kind of found myself liking it more as the album went on.
100% suits what they're doing.
Yeah, it does.
100%. And this is the genre that they're playing in just now has a sea, and once again, no pun intended for the drowning comment, but it has a sea of vocalists that sound interchangeable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could swap out any of them and there'd be not a fucking bit of difference. So it was one of the things that instantly got my attention.
Yeah.
Was like, right, whoa, we've got something different here.
Yeah, because you're right. I was totally expecting like a typical kind of sludgy kind of doom vocal to come in, and when it didn't, I was like, oh wait, what? Yeah. What's going on here? But vocals aside, This thing is all about the riffs. Like if you dig bands like Church of Misery, Weedeater, Eyehategod,
Dave. Amen.
yes, you are in for an absolutely filthy ride. And
Testify, Dave.
Who doesn't like a filthy ride? You know, and
I love a filthy
Tell
ride.
me. Exactly. We both do. The riffs are unbelievably thick and just filthy, corrosive sounding. I know they class themselves as like stoner doom, but there is a heavy sludge element to their sound.
Huge amount of sludge in this band.
Definitely. It's quite kind of bleak sounding at times, but they've also got a very cool kind of southern kind of side to their sound as well. Obviously being from Louisville. Tracks
It's in
like
Kentucky, by the way, Dave. I don't know if you know
Kentucky, thank you. Tracks like Rehash have that kind of like NOLA Eyehategod streak, where like, you know, the tails of the riff are very bluesy. It's a pretty kind of like tried and tested formula, but you just can't help but be sucked in by it. Like that, the feel of the tracks, you know, that swagger and groove. I was just like, yes, just wash over me with those riffs. Very, very Moorish, particularly that Rehash track. Loved that. But there's also tracks. There was also tracks on here, and this is going to sound really bizarre, but they reminded me of like a sludge version of Bloodduster, right?
Yeah.
Now, Bloodduster are a far heavier band, right?
Yes.
They are like grindcore and death metal, and you know, don't expect like blast beats on this or anything like that. But I think with that vocal tone and certain kind of rhythms they use, it just kind of put me in mind of Bloodduster, but like a sludge version of it.
Like a less at times the album, like the guitar work and the sound reminded me of a less kind of happy, less rocky Scissor Fight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, because like Scissor Fight is generally quite, it's not the happiest music in the world, but it's kind of all kind of, you know, there's something about their music where you're just like, like this kind of bouncy, jumpy stuff. And it's like if they took that and just made it slower and uglier. And that's kind of what it reminded me of. You know, there's just like there's a ferocity about it, which is just like evident right from the start. Also, I mean, I keep saying this every other album. Like Trough Guzzler. Greatest name for a song ever. Like, I know I flip flop on the greatest name for a song all the time, but just the image in my head is just, it's fucking there, man. It's a guy just like all about the slop, Dave. All about the slop.
Yeah, I think like, you know, this isn't like it's not necessarily like cutting edge. You know, it's not like pushing massive boundaries, but I really enjoyed this. Like, it's a really enjoyable, engaging album. You know, there's even though it's like sludgy kind of doom, there's lots of tempo changes.
Yeah.
You know, the way they kind of shift the tracks in and out of different rhythms. The tone of the album even does shift. You know, there's slightly darker moments on the album, like the Big Sad, or they go a little bit more kind of psychedelic on Lawn Care for Adults. Amazing. All of those different things kind of kept me invested in this. There's even a bit of trumpet.
There is
a wee bit of trumpet on High Praise, which I did not see coming at all. So like there are moments on here where clearly the band are, you know, thinking outside the box, you know, and away from the usual traits of the genre. The only part of it that I didn't really get, that I didn't really understand, was the kind of Western themed interlude in the middle of the album. I get the purpose of it.
It's different.
I get the purpose, like as a kind of break-up section in the middle. A little
Breaks
just
it up, Dave.
A little breather. I get that. Totally get that. Stylistically, just didn't really make much sense to me. It's an interesting idea, but I'm not sure it added anything to the album.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it is the thing that isn't like the rest of the album, but it's only an interlude and it is only 2 minutes. So
it's true. They've done it for a reason. I'm not just quite sure what that was.
Maybe they just had. Maybe they were sitting there and they were like, you know what? Let's just riff on a theme.
Yeah, maybe.
They were like that. This is kind of cool. Let's just put it on the album. I genuinely, I'm with you. It's the thing that is most off-putting is the wrong word, but it is the thing that's most difficult to listen to in comparison to everything else that's around it. Not that it's badly written or like that. It's
No.
like really well constructed within that genre, but that genre doesn't sit with. You went from all the stuff that you would class as kind of southern, sludge, doom, all that stuff is there, and then you add in a genre of music that isn't necessarily associated with any of that, and there isn't any hook into that. So as a result, it sounds different. It was one of those ones where I had to check. First time I was listening to it, like I've told you before, my everything on Apple Music you can listen to, other Spotify exists and all those other things. But when it finishes, the Apple Genius, as it's called, which isn't all that clever, will switch on to another band that it considers similar. And sometimes, like, the disparity between what you've been listening to what comes on next can be jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
And if you're not at the machine, you can think, well, this album's taking a fucking weird turn. And then you see it's a different... And I thought that had happened. Like, when it kicked in, I was like, what the fuck is that? Well, across, and it's like, all right, this is... Oh, and it's called Interlude, which I also like about it. It's clear they're like that. This is the Interlude. It's not like the rest of the album. But it is weird.
Yeah, it kind of did take me out of the album for a second, but after that's over, it's back to regular business, and we're back into the sludge and the stoner and the doom, and I thoroughly enjoyed it right to the end. I really enjoyed the album Closer.
At Wit's End.
Yeah, it's like if Thin Lizzy and the Eagles started a sludge band, like it's got like a twin guitar harmonies. And then there's a solo in it that's very Eagles-esque during the kind of near the end of the song. And I was just like, this is fucking wild, but I love it. So I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy this album. Production-wise, it's so fucking rough around the edges, but it absolutely suits the style down to the ground.
Fucking gnarly.
Like Sludge and Doom, it's not supposed to be super polished or shiny. So I love the kind of gritty texture of this album. It feels like a band that's just went into a room, plugged in, and just fucking started jamming and let it rip, and that's how it should be for this style of music. So I thought they got the production spot on in this as well. What about yourself? What do you reckon the most of this? What do you think?
I've now decided that if I do create a sludge band that has a similar sound to what these guys have got, instead of Charles Barkley, I would call myself Gnarly Barkley. Because it's a gnarly production. It really fucking is. There's a... Like you say, there's a rawness about this, but it's almost at times a kind of uncomfortable rawness about it. If specifically with those vocals, there's very little, if anything, is done to those vocals at all. That's about as organic as that gets. And I like that. I know that our colleague who's not with us tonight had said that one of the aspects that took him out overall from the album was the vocal tone. It was something he couldn't acclimate to, but I did straight away, because it's different, because it sounds different, and it fits. It really fucking fits. And it has its own unique... He has his own unique identity, which I love about that, because, like I said before, interchangeable. Production is great, though. It's just really just... it's just so fucking raw. And it does remind me of kind of, on some level, early Eyehategod. Weirdly. But musically, it's great. Like, this lives by the sword, dies by the sword. The guitar work is so Moorish, especially the little hooks. You just kind of feel yourself just like waiting for it, because you're in the groove and you're like, what are you going to put in the end? What are you going to... Oh, that's it. Done me right. And the thing is, what I like about them is there's variety here without them treading too far from the path. Once again, it's like what works for the song that I really like. Trumpets aside, even when the trumpets come in, it works on the song. Which I really enjoyed, because once again, if you're going to do it, make sure it works for a reason. And it was refreshing to hear another brass instrument with a saxophone this year, which has been over everything. And also kind of makes sense from the part of the world that they're from. Like kind of
Yeah.
puppet sound kind of makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like they're clearly a product of their environment. There's blues in here, there's sludge in here, there's doom in here, there's groove in here. Some of those grooves are fucking awesome. But at its core, it's interesting. Like, what was it? How did you describe depressive? What was the genre? How did they describe themselves?
Depressive, suicidal, stoner doom.
Because there is a. The Big Sad's probably the good example of that.
Yeah.
But there is a kind of weirdly melancholic vibe.
Yeah.
But not as in like a kind of like a Smashing Pumpkins thing or anything like that. As in there's a sadness. There's a pit of sadness. That's how I'm going to describe it. There's a pit of sadness in some of these songs where you can feel it going a bit darker and a bit deeper than the rest.
Yeah.
Which once again gives context. It makes the other elements of the song stand out a lot more. This is a great find. I'm not saying you found these guys because obviously they submitted their music to you, but this is one of these things where just when you thought you'd heard everything within the kind of stonery, doomy, sludgy side of things, like a band comes out that isn't necessarily reinventing the wheel, but there's elements to it that feel fresh and rewarding for the listen.
Yeah.
And that's She. I think they've got that in a way which just made me really excited. I got by about the fourth song, I was digging everything that was going on here. I'm a mark for this sort of music anyway. I have been for a long time. Since about 2012, 2013 is when I really started getting heavily interested in doom and sludge. So you have to do a lot to basically make me not like your band. Like you have to fuck up a lot, and the elements here really work for me. And a part of that is the thing that I think is worth mentioning. You already touched it. Is the thing that the band will either gain attention for or lose people on, and it's that unique vocal tone. It works for me. Yeah. I know if someone said they didn't like it, why it wouldn't work for them. I am with you though. I think listen to the album again, and on the second listen, it fits perfectly. To me, I was the same as you by like track 2, but as soon as Rehash kicked in, it was like, yeah, this vocal fits this band.
Yeah,
but it isn't typical for the genre.
Yeah,
there is a. I just thought like if I stubbed my toe whilst being on hold because my internet wasn't working with my supplier who just cut me off. This is how it sound. It's like so painfully raw. You know what I mean? Like blackened is a way to there's a blackened element without it sounding shite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's in here, and I think it just adds an additional level of something of interest that they're doing. So amazing album title aside, amazing song title aside, She are one to look out for sure. And there are mentioned about 5 or 6 bands. You put there's about 7 or 8 dream lineups that these guys could open for that I think would work fucking so well.
Yeah.
And why is Phil and Selmo not heard of these guys yet? Come on, Phil.
That's a good point.
So, yeah, I thought it was really good.
Yeah. So, ratings for Basement Wizard. Yeah, as I said, really enjoyed it. It does what you want, from a band of this style. It's no fucks given, really. Doomy sludge. As you say, it's not pushing any boundaries, but they know exactly how they want to sound, and they deliver it well on Basement Wizard. I'm going to go in with a 4 out of 5 on this one. What about yourself?
It's interesting, like we've done a bunch of reviews today, and for the majority of them we've been 0.5s out, and on the last one, on this one, we have synced up. We're synced up our mensies, so we're menstruating at the same time as what that means. I'll be on this one 4. I'll come back to this. I'll definitely come back to this. And it does it. Like it makes me excited. This is a genre I genuinely love, and finding new bands out there that are that get it. You know what I mean? that understand it, get it, and put their own spin on it is something that's rewarding for sure. It's one of the reasons I enjoy doing these reviews, and she are one of those bands.
For sure. Check these guys out. This album drops on the 15th of October. It's called Basement Wizard. I will put links below to their Facebook and to their Bandcamp page where you can check out the pre-order for the album. Let us know what you think. Check it out. Drop some comments in below. Happy to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. That is the review. Thank you for checking it out. Much appreciated. We'll be back with another review very soon. But until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.